Every single morning, millions of Americans open their pantries and reach for a jar of peanut butter, spread it on toast. They pack it in school lunches. They eat it as a quick source of protein before a workout. They believe they are feeding their families a simple, wholesome product made from ground nuts. The marketing on the labels reinforces this belief. Pictures of fresh green fields and smiling families suggest a direct line from the farm to the kitchen table. But behind those bright colors and comforting logos lies a complex story of industrial processing and corporate chemistry. The truth is that most of the products sitting on grocery store shelves today bear little resemblance to real peanut butter. They have been modified to maximize profit margins and extend shelf life. This investigation will examine how a simple health food was transformed into an ultra-processed commodity. We will look at the history of the industry and decode the ingredient lists of the most popular brands. By the end of this journey, you will know exactly which 8 major brands failed the purity test and which 2 are actually pure. To understand how we got here, we have to go back to the late 19th century. Peanut butter was not invented as a cheap spread for children. It was developed as a nutritious, easily digestible protein source for wealthy patients at health sanitariums. Pioneers of the food recognized that grinding roasted peanuts created a rich, nutritious paste. This early version had only one ingredient. But this natural product had a major physical limitation. The oil would naturally separate from the solid peanut particles and rise to the top of the jar. Consumers had to stir the oil back into the paste every time they wanted to use it. If the jar sat on a shelf for too long, the oil on top could become rancid. For decades, this separation problem limited the commercial potential of the product. It could not be easily shipped across the country or stored in warehouses for months at a time. The entire industry was waiting for a technological breakthrough that would change the nature of the product forever. That breakthrough arrived in the 1920s. Chemists discovered that a process called hydrogenation could alter the structure of vegetable oils. By forcing hydrogen gas into liquid oil at high temperatures, manufacturers could turn liquid fats into solid fats. When these hydrogenated oils were mixed with ground peanuts, they prevented the natural oil from separating. The peanut butter remained perfectly smooth and stable at room temperature. This invention allowed corporate food companies to manufacture peanut butter on a massive industrial scale. Jars could sit on grocery shelves for years without spoiling or separating. But this convenience came at a significant cost to the consumer. The addition of hydrogenated oils changed the nutritional profile of the spread. It introduced trans fats, which were later linked to cardiovascular issues. Over the decades, manufacturers continued to refine their formulas. They added refined sugars and chemical emulsifiers to improve the texture and taste. The simple health food of the past was quietly replaced by a highly engineered industrial spread. Today, the average consumer does not read the ingredient list closely. They rely on the front of the jar, which often features words like natural or low fat. They trust that regulatory agencies are keeping harmful ingredients out of their food. But a closer look at the regulatory landscape reveals a different reality. Under current guidelines, food companies are allowed to round down trans fat levels to 0 if a serving contains less than half a gram. This means a product can claim to have 0 trans fats on the nutrition facts panel while still containing partially hydrogenated oils in the ingredient list. Furthermore, the term natural is not strictly defined or regulated by the food authorities in a way that prevents the addition of highly processed oils and sugars. This regulatory gray area has allowed major brands to market heavily processed products as healthy options. This investigation looked at the manufacturing practices and ingredient profiles of the leading peanut butter brands in the United States. We analyzed the oils they use and the sugars they add. The findings are highly revealing. We begin our countdown with a brand that has become a staple of American culture. Gif Creamy is currently the best-selling brand in the country. It is manufactured by the J.M. Smucker Company. For decades, the brand has used the famous slogan that choosy moms choose Jif. This marketing campaign built immense trust with generations of parents. It created an emotional association between the brand and maternal care. When consumers buy this product, they expect they are buying a high-quality, nutritious spread. They believe they are making the best choice for their children. The familiar red, blue, and green label represents comfort and reliability. But the reality of what is inside the jar is quite different from this wholesome image. If you turn a jar of Gif Creamy over and read the ingredient list, you will find more than just peanuts and salt. The product contains fully hydrogenated vegetable oils from rapeseed and soybean. It also contains mono and diglycerides. These ingredients are added to prevent the oil from separating and to give the spread its signature silky texture. However, these hydrogenated oils are highly processed fats. The manufacturing process involves chemical solvents and high heat. This process alters the molecular structure of the oils. The brand also adds sugar and molasses to enhance the flavor. This means you are consuming added sugars and industrial fats with every spoonful of what you thought was just peanut butter. The marketing has successfully diverted attention away from these cheap fillers. This matters because the human body processes natural peanut oil very differently, and it processes industrially modified vegetable oils. Natural peanut oil is rich in monounsaturated fats, which are beneficial for heart health. When manufacturers replace a portion of this natural oil with hydrogenated oils, they are diluting the nutritional value of the food. The addition of mono and diglycerides further introduces processed emulsifiers into your diet. While these ingredients are deemed safe by regulatory agencies, they are not necessary for making peanut butter. They are used to make the product shelf-stable and highly palatable. The reputation of the brand remained intact while the formula was optimized for the supply chain. The marketing of Jif Creamy earned consumer trust over 50 years, but the label never fully explained why industrial oils were necessary in a simple nut spread. This discrepancy shows the power of corporate branding over consumer awareness. But Jif is far from the only brand using these methods. The history of its main competitor reveals an even deeper connection to the industrialization of our food. That competitor is Skippy Creamy. Its brand has a direct historical link to the invention of hydrogenated peanut butter. In the 1930s, a businessman named Joseph Rosefield patented a process for partial hydrogenation. He used this technology to create Skippy. The brand quickly grew into a massive household name. Millions of Americans grew up eating Skippy. The brand positioned itself as a fun, energetic option for kids. The bright blue packaging and playful font suggest a light-hearted, wholesome snack. Consumers trust that this legacy brand is delivering a classic, reliable product. They expect a rich peanut flavor and a smooth, spreadable consistency. The reality of Skippy Creamy is built on the same industrial foundation as its competitor. The ingredient list includes hydrogenated vegetable oils, including cottonseed, soybean, and rapeseed oils. It also contains sugar and salt. Cottonseed oil is often heavily refined and is a byproduct of the cotton industry. The use of multiple different hydrogenated vegetable oils allows the manufacturer to source the cheapest fats available on the global market. This keeps production costs incredibly low, but it means the consumer is eating a blend of cheap industrial oils instead of pure peanut fat. The product is engineered to never separate and to remain stable in any climate. The inclusion of these hydrogenated oils means the product contains highly processed fats that do not exist in nature. The refining process removes the natural nutrients from these vegetable oils. It leaves behind a stable but nutritionally empty fat. When you eat this product, you are consuming fats that were created in a chemical processing plant rather than on a farm. The convenience of not having to stir your jar comes at the cost of consuming these industrial ingredients. The brand marketed the convenience of a Noster formula. Consumer paid the price in nutritional quality. The smooth texture of Skippy was celebrated as a modern marvel of food science. But the industrial oils used to achieve it were never part of the original recipe. This shift highlights a common theme in the food industry, where convenience is prioritized over purity. But as we move further down our list, we find brands with even more troubling histories. Our sixth brand is Peter Pan. This is one of the oldest peanut butter brands in the United States. It was originally introduced by Derby Foods in the 1920s. For decades, it was a dominant force in the market. The brand used characters from the famous story of Peter Pan to appeal to children. It created a sense of adventure and magical innocence. Consumers believed they were buying a wholesome traditional product with a rich heritage. The brand cultivated an image of timeless quality. But the modern reality of Peter Pan is defined by corporate acquisitions and cost-cutting measures. The ingredient list of Peter Pan Creamy reveals a highly processed formulation. It contains hydrogenated vegetable oil from cottonseed and rapeseed. It also contains sugar and salt. But the history of this brand contains a major turning point that shook consumer confidence. In the mid-thousands, the brand was involved in a massive safety recall due to contamination at its manufacturing facility. The investigation revealed that moisture from a leaking roof had allowed harmful organisms to grow in the product. This incident exposed the vulnerabilities of high-volume industrial food production. After the recall, the brand was sold and reformulated. But it continued to rely on cheap hydrogenated oils to maintain its structure. This matters because industrial peanut butter production requires massive factories where ingredients are processed at high speeds. The addition of hydrogenated oils makes the product easier to pump through industrial pipes and fill into jars. It is a formula designed for the efficiency of the factory rather than the health of the consumer. When you buy this product, you are supporting a highly centralized industrial system that prioritizes output over simplicity. The heritage of the brand was used to rebuild trust. The formula remained focused on industrial convenience. The whimsical character on the jar promised a journey to a land of childhood innocence. But the ingredients inside the jar were the product of modern industrial chemistry. This contrast shows how marketing can create a powerful emotional shield around a highly processed product. The next brand on our list represents a different kind of marketing strategy. Reese's Peanut Butter is a brand that benefits from its association with one of the most popular candies in the world. Consumers love Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. When they see Reese's Peanut Butter in a jar on the grocery shelf, they immediately associate it with the delicious taste of the candy. They expect a rich, sweet flavor. Many consumers buy it, thinking it is simply a spreadable version of a high-quality peanut snack. The bright orange packaging is instantly recognizable. It triggers a strong craving response in the brain of the consumer. But the reality of Reese's Peanut Butter is that it is formulated more like a confectionery spread than a traditional nut butter. The ingredient list includes sugar and hydrogenated vegetable oils from rapeseed, cottonseed, and soybean. It also contains monoglycerides and salt. This product is designed to be highly palatable. A combination of high sugar content and added industrial fats creates a flavor profile that is hard to resist. But this formulation is far from pure. It is an ultra-processed food product that contains significant amounts of added sugars and cheap vegetable fats. Consuming this product regularly means adding unnecessary sugars and industrial fats to your daily diet. The high sugar content can contribute to energy crashes and blood sugar spikes. This is particularly concerning because many parents feed this product to their children for breakfast. They believe they are providing a protein-rich meal. In reality, they are serving a product that is closer to dessert than a healthy breakfast. The candy brand promised a familiar indulgence. The consumer received a jar of sweetened industrial oils. The association with a beloved candy made the product an instant success. But the high sugar and industrial oil content was never highlighted on the front of the jar. This shows how corporate brands can leverage their popular names to sell highly processed products. The next brand on our list takes advantage of a different consumer motivation. Great Value is the private label brand of Walmart. It has grown to become one of the most popular brands in the country. The primary appeal of Great Value creamy peanut butter is its price. It is significantly cheaper than the national name brands. During times of economic inflation and rising grocery prices, millions of families turn to store brands to save money. Consumers trust that Walmart is delivering a basic, reliable product that is comparable to the expensive brands. They expect a simple, affordable peanut butter for their everyday needs. The reality of Great Value creamy peanut, that is that its low price is achieved through extreme cost cutting in the supply chain. The ingredient list is virtually identical to the major national brands. It contains hydrogenated vegetable oil from rapeseed, cottonseed, and soybean. It also contains sugar and salt. To keep the price so low, the manufacturer must source the cheapest possible ingredients. This often means using lower-grade peanuts and the most highly refined vegetable oils available. The product is manufactured in high-volume contract facilities, where speed and cost reduction are the only priorities. This matters because cheap food often has a hidden cost. When you buy the cheapest possible peanut butter, you are consuming the most highly processed version of the food. The quality of the peanuts used in these budget brands can be lower. This can sometimes lead to higher levels of natural contaminants like aflatoxins, which are strictly regulated but still present in small amounts. The reliance on cheap industrial oils is even higher in these budget formulations. To make up for the lower quality of the peanut solids, the low price tag earned the loyalty of budget-conscious shoppers. The quality of the ingredients was sacrificed to maintain that price. The promise of Great Value appealed to the wallet of the consumer. but the physical value of the ingredients inside was minimal. This demonstrates how economic pressure can drive consumers toward highly processed options. But even when consumers are willing to pay a premium for health, they can still be misled. This brings us to Justin's. This brand represents the modern natural food movement. It was started in a home kitchen by an entrepreneur who wanted to create a better, more nutritious nut butter. The brand was eventually acquired by Hormel Foods. The packaging of Justin's is minimalist and clean. It features a simple white label with a drawing of a single peanut. The brand positioning is highly premium. It appeals to health-conscious consumers who are willing to pay twice as much for a product they believe is pure and artisanal. Consumers expect that this high-priced brand is free from industrial additives. The reality of Justin's classic peanut butter is a surprise to many who buy it for its healthy image. The ingredient list includes palm oil. Palm oil is added to prevent oil separation. While palm oil is not chemically hydrogenated, it is still a highly processed tropical oil. The global production of palm oil has been linked to significant environmental destruction, including deforestation and habitat loss. Furthermore, palm oil is high in saturated fats. Many consumers buy Justin's believing they are getting a pure product of peanuts and salt. Instead, they are paying a premium price for a product that still contains added tropical oil. The inclusion of palm oil in a premium brand shows how difficult it is to find a truly pure product. Even brands that market themselves as natural and artisanal often rely on added fats to prevent separation. They do this because they know modern consumers do not like to stir their peanut butter. To accommodate this preference, they compromise the purity of the product. The premium packaging suggested an artisanal product. The ingredient list revealed a reliance on industrial palm oil. The story of the independent entrepreneur created a powerful brand mythology. But the acquisition by a major food conglomerate led to a focus on mass distribution and shelf stability. This shows that a high price tag does not guarantee a simple ingredient list. The next two brands on our list represent perhaps the most confusing category of all. Our second brand is GIF Natural. This product was launched to capture the growing market of consumers who wanted to avoid hydrogenated oils. The front of the label features the word natural in large, prominent letters. It also states that the product is made with 5 simple ingredients. This marketing is highly effective. It convinces consumers that they are buying a healthy, natural option that is free from industrial processing. Consumers believe they are making a major step up in quality from the standard Jif Creamy. The reality of Jif Natural is that it is still a processed product. The 5 ingredients are peanuts, sugar, palm oil, salt, and molasses. While the brand removed the hydrogenated rapeseed and soybean oils, they replaced them with palm oil. This means the product still contains added tropical fats to prevent separation. It also still contains added sugar and molasses to keep the sweet flavor profile of the original. The term natural on the label is a marketing strategy rather than a reflection of purity. The product is still engineered to be a noster spread. This matters because consumers are being led to believe they are buying a pure product when they are actually buying a product with added sugars and tropical oils. The added sugar contributes to the overall daily sugar intake of the consumer. The added palm oil contributes saturated fats that are not native to peanuts. This is a classic example of greenwashing in the food industry. The manufacturer makes a minor change to the formula and uses clever packaging to charge a premium. The natural label suggested a return to simplicity. The ingredients showed a continuation of industrial formulation.